This is nice. How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring along with me to talk about why I'm excited for the Tamron 35-150 f2 to f2.8. So let's jump right into it. So I'm not sure if you have seen the news about the Tamron 35-150mm for Sony that has been announced, and it's supposed to be delivered basically this year. There's not much else to know about it just yet with the price point, but I want to talk a little bit about why I'm excited for this lens and why it's something that is very cool to see Tamron pushing the limits when it comes to zoom lenses. So I have a lot of Tamron lenses. I have the 20mm, 17-28, 28-75, and the 70-180 from Tamron, and I've really enjoyed all of them for their own unique purposes. Now when it comes down to the 35-150, it starts at an f2 and then it makes it to like a 2.8 basically all throughout, which is really cool in my opinion when it comes down to a zoom lens. A lot of people kind of don't want to have the higher aperture because they want to have those kind of like creamier bokeh kind of style for portraits and everything between with like the 35, like I have a Sigma 1.4. So what I think this is very cool and I guess more innovation from Tamron is that you're adding a little bit of a lower f-stop with a 2 to be able to have that catering to the people that want to have for portraits and have a one-stop lens for basically almost anything. I use my 70-180 f2.8 quite often, honestly, and it's a great lens for portraits and just doing a lot of street photography in my end. That's what I mainly use it for. I think it's a really good versatile lens when it comes down to being on the run. So if you want to just condense it to one lens itself, that compression that you get from the 70-180 to me is very unmatched for the price point that you have, because you can get the Sony one, but it's very pricey in my opinion for what you're getting compared to the Tamron lens itself, and also with the sizing. So I have it back here. This is my 70-180 lens that I use fairly often. I almost use it exclusively when I do my photography for my tennis academy, just because the kids are playing with their tennis rackets, don't feel like getting hit. And it's really great for portraits and street photography where I don't want to bother people, kind of have a camera in their face where they might feel a little bit uncomfortable. Now this is my 35mm Sigma, so if you can see the kind of like the difference in sizing, it's pretty good hefty size itself, but from what I'm seeing in the photos that I've seen from the 35-150, it's a little bit more into the realm of the 70-180 kind of combo of this, which is kind of cool in my opinion because it's gonna be still a pretty good size of a lens, but not overly big when it comes down to a telephoto lens that it's gonna be too heavy to just bring around. So something else that I'm very excited about this lens is just seeing how much of the customization they have in the lens itself with the buttons and everything like that. I know the 70-180 didn't really have much else, but they had the little lock button, which is fine. I don't really have that much customization with the buttons, but I know a lot of people tend to do that as well when it comes down for filmmaking. So it's kind of cool to have that as well. Now, seeing a little bit on their, I guess in the reels, you can kind of see basically like the different size comparison from the 28-75 to the, I guess it was the 18-300, and then just to the 35-150. So you're seeing the video right now, so you can kind of see the different comparison. But in all honesty, I think that's going to be a really good size because you're obviously wanting to have good glass in it, and also you're having to cover a lot more when it comes down to a 35-150. Now, something for me, having all those Tamron lenses that I have, obviously having the 35-150, not necessarily something that I would definitely need because it's something just, oh my gosh, I have to have it since I have kind of all my bases covered with all the zoom lenses that I have in my primes. But if I want to condense down, I think having the 35-150 is a huge game changer when it comes down to that f2 and f2.8. I can honestly see myself getting this lens just because I know that it can cover a lot of my bases on the go, with all the way from a really good wide 35 to all the way to a telephoto to the 150 range. And with that said, it just seems like it would be such a good, crucial game changer when it comes down to those zoom lenses, because Tamron itself has really good zoom lenses in my opinion. That's one of the reasons why I bought them. I don't have any sponsorship with them, at least maybe not yet, but I mean, I wouldn't take a sponsorship of a product that I wouldn't believe in. The same thing that I do with my tennis academy. I have a brand of tennis that sponsors me called Babylon, and I wouldn't have taken their sponsorship for products for myself to also like help out my students if I didn't believe in the product itself much. So for me with the Tamron, I think it's a very good stepping stone with the zoom lens capabilities, lowering all the way to an f2. Because I know that I believe Canon has a 28-70 or 28-75 f2, but that lens looks massive, and it is also a 28-70, 75, whatever it is, which isn't horrible. But I think having that 35-150 will cover more bases for people doing portraits and street photography style of shoots, and just a little bit more all around, in my opinion, when it comes down to a focal range that you're not the typical ones that go from like an f2.8 to like a 5.6, where you have to have more light, because if not, the aperture getting to like the 5.6 range obviously is not as blurry background. So I think this is kind of hitting the nails with a lot of people's mentality for a zoom lens to be appropriate for whatever they want. Now in regards to the price, I think it'll probably be about the same price as the Tamron 70-180, maybe a little bit more, because you cover more bases to a certain degree with the f2 and being a 35. So even if it's in the world of between 1200 to 1500, even a little bit above, I think they'll still hit a good market into that end where people will find the investment to be worth the money with that type of lens and what they're offering for it. It's supposed to be a really fast lens, and obviously having that zoom capability is going to be phenomenal. Just being a faster overall lens with the autofocus, because it's going to be updated more firmware from Tamron. And even with these lenses that I currently have, that they're the older version of them, because I know they're coming out with the new 28-75 version of it, which I have it somewhere over there. I think this is going to be a really cool setup to have with a 35-150. So I'm excited to see when the launch date will be for that, the exact actual date for it to be released, so that we can get the final price point for when it'll come out, because I'm really excited to see just the price range that they'll go with, and trying to get my hands on one right away to do a video and see how I like it compared to my 70-180 and the 28-75 kind of combo, since they're going to be a little bit more perspective into that matter of realm for each other to compare to one another. So now the ultimate question is, are you wanting to get this kind of zoom lens for you? Are you even a zoom lens kind of person? I know a lot of people kind of have that debate between primes and zooms, so I'm curious to know if that's something that caters to your wants and needs when it comes down to a lens for your camera. I know that this one is supposed to be mainly for the Sony E-mount full frame lens lineup, so I'm sure they're going to be ending up coming out with I guess maybe Canon eventually, and I think this one will be also available for the Fujifilm, but I could be wrong with that. I don't have really Fujifilm cameras. I only have my X100F to compare, but that one's not interchangeable lenses, so that's just my guess, I think, from what I can remember right now. But are you planning to get something like this? Would it be something that you would be more inclined to invest into? I'm curious to know your thoughts, so please let me know down below in the comment section. I would love to just hear your thoughts on this new lens and see if it's something that's worth the money for you to even wait on, or if you're just happy with what you have already, whether if you have already some Tamron lenses or prime lenses or anything like that. I would love to hear more about it. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.